Yeah, look, I get it, folks. I've been rambling on a lot lately about Helldivers 2, praising it at every opportunity I can get. But to be quite honest with you all here, I'm just enjoying having a game that I can talk so positively about while being somewhat honest about, right? There has been a lot of doom and gloom in the gaming spaces of late, and especially in the first-person shooter genre that I tend to operate in. So it's actually really nice to have a game that I can just sort of waffle on about in a positive light. It's a nice change of pace, quite frankly. The more and more I play Helldivers 2, the more and more it just seems to ooze love and passion, and on top of that, the more and more we're starting to see exactly what the developers are capable of from a storytelling perspective. And with that, I want to be so bold as to posit something here today, folks. Helldivers 2 is just a big old D&D game, and we are all versing the developers. G'day there once again, viewers, your mate Kamikaze78 here, and today, folks, let's have a chat about Helldivers 2's unique twist as a game, and how it's already impacted the gameplay experience for us as a community. So off the back of that, folks, I think it's very clear that we as a community have become, let's say, very familiar with Joel's antics over the last couple of weeks. Now, for those who don't know, this mysterious entity named Joel is a sole developer at Arrowhead Game Studios, whose only responsibility in the entire project is to be the quote-unquote game master, an individual who controls the galactic war, the unique events that we're encountering, all that fun stuff. We've also learned he can be a bit of a dick sometimes, just, randomly giving enemies random boosts in reinforcements because go heck yourselves. But anyway, that's Joel, and he's got a certain charm to him, and I love him for it. We learned about this position in the game's development team about a week or so after the game had launched, but only as of late have we really started to see what Joel is capable of when it comes to influencing the way this war is playing out. And as I said in the intro, folks, the more and more I think about it, the more and more I'm coming to the conclusion that we are just playing in one big D&D sci-fi game. Allow me to explain. Obviously, a lot of live service games tend to throw timed challenges to the player, or players as a collective, to complete. We're talking daily challenges, weekly challenges, sometimes community-wide communal challenges that everyone is working towards, so on and so forth. If you complete them, you're more than likely going to get a reward that will help you progress a battle pass that you're working to, or unlock some sort of unique cosmetic of some description, whatever the case may be. And if you fail the challenge and don't complete it in the allotted time, that's it really. You don't unlock the thing, or you don't complete your battle pass, so on and so forth. But regardless of the outcome there, the challenge just sort of disappears into the ether, From a gameplay perspective, the challenge is just more or less used as a way to encourage players to try out a new playstyle or battle in a certain part of a map that's normally untouched, stuff like that. It's very much a carrot on the stick kind of way of encouraging new playstyles and play behavior to try and spice things up and to keep people coming back to the game. And in fairness, that's the way things have been done for a very, very long time now. But in Helldivers, things are going a little bit deeper here. Now sure, we have our personal orders that offer us some point-in-time rewards and very much try to push us towards using new stratagems or weapons, but Helldivers 2 has also presented us with multiple community-wide major orders to achieve throughout its lifespan already, of which carry significant consequences regardless of the outcome that will impact the outcome of the galactic war and our gameplay even after the challenge wraps up. These challenges carry a sense of weight and risk, almost like a push and pull between D&D Dungeon Master and player, but this time it's between Joel and the Helldiver community. I think the most apt example of this in action in Helldivers 2 so far is the introduction of the mech suits to the game. These things were incredibly hyped across the community. Leaks were emerging, and some players were even starting to have these mechs randomly drop into their games for early testing by the developers. But one morning, we got a notification from all Super Earth channels. The sole factories producing these mechs were under automaton attack, and if we didn't successfully push them out at a moment's notice, the technology would fall to automaton hands rather than our own. We will never know what may have happened should things have gone badly, but I am genuinely convinced that if we had failed, we would have seen new, armored, buffed versions of the automaton enemy types, or maybe even brand new unit types, and we wouldn't have gotten access to the mech suits in the first place, at least not immediately. The developers, or I guess Joel in this instance, but anyway, genuinely looked us in the eye and said, hey look, the new mechs are coming. We know you guys are looking forward to them. Time to fucking earn them. You're not going to get them for free. I don't think I've ever seen a game development studio do that with a live service game to this date, at least not in recent memory. There were genuine high-risk stakes there that the very tech that we have come to love now, that we're using right now, may have gone to enemy hands. But in my view, that just made the accomplishment and the joy of getting them the first time that little bit sweeter. You know, there was that sense of camaraderie going, hey, we earned this. Now we get to enjoy it and actually put it to good use on the battlefield. That was really something quite special at that moment when they came out. Seriously, the balls on the devs to do something like this is something I genuinely respect. To hype up a feature and then not put it behind a paywall, but a gameplay-driven challenge? Gaming feels like it has been restored in a way with Helldivers after that. And again, it reflects the relation you see from a great D&D dungeon master out there. An understanding of incentivizing players with a reward, but placing ample risk in front of them to make the sense of accomplishment feel fitting for the reward that they're going for. But that's not all. Even just recently, we have received new major orders that require us to move to the Terminid systems with the goal of activating a brand new Terminid control system, constructed on the bordering planets. These systems apparently spew termicide across the planet, with talks of completely destroying the bug population and allowing a safe return for citizens of Super Earth to these colonies. And this has done a couple of fun things as a result. For one, it's a fun story element that, depending on our results as Helldivers, will either see us successfully draw back some ground against the Terminid, which, if I may be so bold to predict, will give us some relief as new enemy factions begin to flood our borders, or fail and lose precious territory that may very well threaten more Super Earth colonies or Super Earth itself. But from a more gameplay-centric perspective, it's generated a brand new mission and encounter type for us to enjoy. It's a defense mission across multiple sites, while also introducing a new mechanic that means enemies can damage and disable the progress that you're making on said objective. And friendly fire is also a factor that can impact the mission here. You can't just throw stratagems left and right to clear bad guys that are swarming the objective that you're trying to activate. Those very stratagems can also damage the objective and stop it in its tracks. You really need to set up a high perimeter and actually stop the bugs from making contact with the objective. It's a cool dynamic and one that we haven't really seen in the game up until this point. But what I'm getting at here is that this is not a simple side quest that says go to X planet, kill Y bugs under the guise of protecting the colony, and then be off on your merry way. No, it's not that simple. There are unique assets, mission parameters, animations, the whole kit and caboodle that's designed to sell the storytelling element of this event to you while presenting a unique gameplay opportunity. It once again feels like a fresh encounter being laid out by a DM at a tabletop game, all the while carrying risk of failure and a ongoing impact as a result of that, potentially at least. Again, all of these are the building blocks that make up a great D&D tabletop experience, and the more and more I play Helldivers 2, the more and more I catch myself thinking, I'm just playing a D&D game right now, digitally, in a sci-fi world, and as an avid D&D player myself, I couldn't be happier about that. Hell, to be honest, even at a moment-to-moment gameplay level, I would even dare argue that there's roots within the game that point to inspirations from tabletop experiences. You know, every mission that we go into is somewhat randomly generated with side objectives, different positioning and different amounts of, heavy, medium, light outposts, and the different threats that'll be roaming there, patrols, all that fun stuff. In addition to that as well, the XP and the collectibles that you are earning through the game are rewarded at a party level rather than an individual level. It's not a competition as to who can get the most amount of kills or the most objectives sorted or who can pick up the most amount of samples. It's about the team succeeding, the party itself working against the DM. When you complete a mission, sure, there might be some dick swinging as to who carried, but ultimately, you did it together as a team. And that camaraderie at all levels of gameplay, whether it be a community as a whole or just your party of 4, is something that we've never seen as strong as we have done in Helldivers 2. And even further to that, the game and the way it handles its balancing, its critical hits, its stratagem use, and the opportunity for success and failure there really does indicate the presence of some natural ones and natural 20 dice rolls being prevalent in the game as well. Now, I know you could argue that with any game out there, and that's totally fair, but I don't know. The amount of times that I've been holding a 500 kg bomb in my hot little hands only to get bonked on the head by a charger and drop the stratagem at my teammates' feet really does feel like what a natural one roll would feel like in a D&D tabletop game as well. I don't know, maybe there's a chance I'm drawing a really long bow on this one, but maybe there's some fellow D&D geeks out there who can relate to me a little bit on the sentiment. I don't know, to me there is definitely some connection between Helldivers and the tabletop experiences that I've at least been privy to in my time as playing that sort of stuff, and I think it's for the better. I think it's really given Helldivers 2 a unique lease on life in how it's unifying its community and presenting challenges to the player base. There's a sense of risk in completing these objectives that sits beyond just time-certain finishes, right? It goes to materially impacting what things will be available to us and what kind of threats we'll be facing. And that's exciting. That's very exciting. It feels like we're not being coddled. It feels like the developers are going, hey, here's a challenge for you guys. Go out and do it. We're not going to coddle you through this. It's going to be consequential, and there'll be impacts, and you'll have to deal with them. Almost like we're being treated like adults here, and in the gaming space, that feels good. And I think it's why a lot of the people out there in this community are really just sinking their teeth into the game and playing it for the long run, because they know there are consequences associated with the turnout of the Galactic War and the major orders that we get, and that's exciting. But folks, that will wrap up my thoughts for today. I will admit, it is a bit of a rambly video, this one, so hopefully you guys got something out of it, whether it be through the commentary or the gameplay or whatever. If you did, a backhand of the like button would go a long way to supporting the channel, and if you're new here, consider subscribing whilst you're at it, and also come follow us down on our Twitch channel down below, guys. It would be great to have you there as well. Once again, folks, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Take care, guys. Have a good one.